The new Labour government have announced their pledge to end the badger cull within the next 5 years, which sounds great, but is it? Since 2013, over 230,000 badgers have been killed in England. That's close to half the population, costing over £60 million of public funds. Successive governments have made all sorts of promises, and yet still the cull continues. We've got to ask, why on earth is that the case? Let's break down the history of the cull and why it must end, not in 5 years' time, but now. The first modern cull started in the late 1990s as a result of a rise in BTB infections in cattle, but it ended in 2003 due to a continued rise of that BTB, and a subsequent review by the independent scientific group on cattle TB found that badger culling can make no meaningful contribution to cattle TB control in Britain. Fast forward to 2010. The then Agricultural Minister, Jim Pace, under pressure from the NFU, what a surprise, and its President Peter Kendall, decided to reinstate the cull. Let's be really clear, the decision was driven more by political expediency than scientific evidence, as Kendall needed a significant policy win amidst an election battle at the NFU. You couldn't make it up. And here's the bloody truth. 14 years later, 230,000 badgers dead, and no reduction in BTB in cattle disease in England. Roughly the same percentage of cattle are slaughtered each year now as they were before the culling started. And the cull still continues, despite the fact that the data also shows that cattle-to-cattle transmission is the primary source of BTB. And, get this, less than 5% of culled badgers tested for BTB were found to have high enough levels where there was a risk of infecting cattle. So what is the real solution? Well, let's look at Wales. They've managed to reduce BTB infections without resorting to a badger cull. Their approach focuses on effective testing, vaccinations, and improved farm hygiene. Measures like better soil management, accurate testing methods, and stringent hygiene protocols have made that real difference. We've simply got to end the badger cull now, not in 5 years' time. It's unscientific, it's inhumane, it's ineffective, it's expensive, and it's a disgrace. Labour, let's be really clear. It's time to end the cull now, or you'll have the blood of thousands of badgers on your hands.